Beneath the waves of Japan's rugged coasts, a giant shadow rises, a creature both worshipped and slaughtered. To some, it is a sacred guardian of the sea. To others, it is a harvest of unimaginable scale. In the same moment, the whale is honored in prayer and cut apart with steel. Blood stains the tide as knives slice through thick layers of blubber, while fishermen bow their heads in solemn ritual. The clash is stark, almost impossible to reconcile reverence and brutality bound together. For centuries, these colossal beings have fed entire villages, fueled industries, and carved themselves into the nation's cultural memory. Yet they are also symbols of beauty, intelligence, and survival, stirring outrage far beyond Japan's shores. So the question remains, is this a timeless tradition of gratitude or an unforgivable act against the giants of the deep? For centuries, Japan has lived under the shadow of the sea. With little farmland and scarce natural resources, survival often depended on the ocean's abundance. By the 1600s, coastal villages in Wakayama and Kyushu organized specialized whaling teams. Small wooden boats, spears, and ropes became weapons in a battle against creatures weighing more than 100,000 pounds. Success meant life for an entire community. Failure could mean hunger and despair. The whale was never only food. Its image appeared in poems, paintings, and stories, often as both protector and prey. In village rituals, fishermen bowed before the sea, believing the whale's spirit would bless their journeys. Shrines known as Kujira Jinja still rise in salt-worn towns, their gates marked with carved bones. Here, incense smoke drifts into the wind as prayers mingle with the memory of blood on the tide. To these island people, each whale was a giant gift from the ocean, a paradox of reverence and destruction. The clash of survival and devotion shaped not just daily life, but a culture inseparable from the deep. In the early days, the hunt unfolded with crude tools and fragile hope. Wooden spears, ropes, and sailboats less than 30 feet long carried men into dangerous waters. They worked as one, chanting rituals passed from father to son, surrounding a whale with courage alone. Every strike of the spear was both a prayer and a gamble against a beast that could overturn their craft with a single sweep of its massive tail. But tradition soon gave way to technology. By the late 19th century, steel harpoons tipped with explosives thundered into the sea. Fired into the head or chest, they were designed to shatter organs and bring a faster death. In reality, many whales fought on thrashing violently for long minutes. Engines roared. Smoke burned the air. The sea boiled red as waves rolled with blood and foam. The spectacle was terrifying, yet mesmerizing, a battle between man's invention and nature's giant. The fallen whale is hauled ashore or alongside a floating mothership. Its enormous body stretches over 60 feet, dwarfing the men who wait with knives as long as a man's arm. The air fills with the metallic stench of blood and salt. Steel blades bite into the skin, peeling away slabs of blubber, more than 12 inches thick, each weighing hundreds of pounds. These white and yellow layers are rolled with ropes, hoisted by cranes, and dragged to boiling vats where oil is rendered into fuel and food. Beneath the fat lies a wall of red muscle. It is darker than beef, dense with blood, and fibrous like mammal flesh. Butchers follow each muscle line with precision carving slabs too heavy for one man to lift. The most tender cuts near the fins and belly are set aside for sashimi. Tougher sections are simmered or ground into whale sausage. Nothing is wasted. The heart, sometimes more than 400 pounds, is carved into firm, ruby-colored meat. The liver, massive and rich in vitamin A, once nourished Japan during post-war famine. Stomachs and intestines are clean-dried and transformed into traditional dishes. Even the skeleton is dismantled with care. Bones are ground into fertilizer or displayed in shrines and museums as symbols of sacrifice. Tendons and whiskers become tools, ornaments, or medicine. Buckets of blood are collected, processed into fertilizer or industrial goods. Around the carcass, the sound is relentless. The scrape of steel, the thud of meat falling, the hiss of steam from boiling fat. The scene is both gruesome and awe-inspiring, a reminder of humanity's will to survive by turning every part of a giant into sustenance. When the butchering ends, silence falls over the blood-stained shore. In many villages, priests gather the community for a memorial rite. Incense burns, prayers are chanted, and offerings are made to honor the whale's spirit. The same hands that held knives now fold in reverence. The contrast is stark. Only moments before steel blades cut deep into crimson flesh. Now voices rise in solemn gratitude, asking the ocean to protect them from storms. To outsiders, the scene is jarring, even barbaric, a sacred ritual staged above pools of blood. Yet to the fishermen, it is noble work. Their labor is not seen as cruelty, but as a duty passed from father to son, binding generations to the sea. In their view, the whale gave itself so the village might live. The paradox lingers. Worship and slaughter coexist in a fragile balance, one that defines the cultural identity of these coastal communities. What do you think about this paradox, sacred ritual, and brutal hunt standing side by side? Share your thoughts below. In the years after World War II, whale meat became a lifeline for an entire nation. School lunches often included it, and millions survived because these giants of the sea filled empty plates. For fishermen, the hunt was never only about survival. It was pride, identity, and the heartbeat of coastal communities. Each grueling voyage, each dangerous cut of the blade, tied families together across generations. The sound of engines, the smell of salt and blood became part of memory itself. Yet the world has changed. Today, whale meat consumption in Japan has dropped sharply, replaced by other sources of protein. Still, the industry endures. It is held alive not by demand alone, but by political protection and cultural legacy. What remains is more than a trade, it is a symbol of defiance and belonging. Purse sign of fishing unfolds on a scale almost beyond imagination. A single net stretches thousands of feet, its walls plunging tens of feet deep, forming a moving barrier beneath the waves. When sonar detects a dense school of tuna, sardine, or herring, the fleet springs into action. Auxiliary boats sweep outward, circling fast, dropping the net in a wide arc until the fish are trapped inside a tightening ring of steel and rope. The scene is explosive. Hundreds of tons of fish thrash against the walls of the net. The ocean boils white with foam as tails strike and bodies collide in panic. Above the chaos, cranes swing like mechanical giants, lifting writhing masses onto the deck. Water pumps roar, sucking thousands of pounds of fish through wide hoses, pouring them onto the wood below. The deck transforms into a river of silver scales, flashing under the sun like shards of glass. Fishermen work in relentless rhythm. Buckets of ice or shoveled conveyor belts rattle knives slice. Fish are sorted by size packed in ice, or sent straight into deep freeze at 40 degrees Celsius. The process is brutal yet precise, turning the sea's wild abundance into an industrial harvest. On deck, the battle does not end when the nets are emptied. Preservation begins instantly, for every passing minute means lost value. Massive cold chambers plunge to 40-degree or locking freshness in place. Some ships use liquid nitrogen, freezing fish so fast that cell walls remain intact, ensuring the flesh thaws as if it were just pulled from the sea. But freezing is not enough. Skilled crews carve fillets with long blades, their movements sharp and rhythmic under blinding floodlights. Conveyor belts hum as machines vacuum seal packages, stacking them in neat rows. The air is thick with the metallic tang of fish blood, mixed with the sharp bite of sea salt and the constant hiss of refrigeration units. Knives strike the cutting boards. Ice shovels scrape. Packing crates slam shut. The sounds merge into a relentless symphony of labor. From a distance, the vessel resembles a floating factory, its decks glowing through the night engines, growling men working in shifts without rest. The ocean outside is silent, but within this steel fortress, industry never sleeps. Percy-Sena nets do not choose their prey. Along with tuna and sardines, whales, dolphins, and sea turtles often become entangled in the massive walls of rope and steel. The sight of unintended victims thrashing helplessly has fueled global outrage. Conservation groups warn of collapsing fish stocks, pointing to harvests measured in hundreds of tons per haul. To them, efficiency has crossed into excess. In Japan, many fishermen defend the practice as tradition refined by technology, a symbol of national resilience at sea. Yet the international community views it as a cycle of overexploitation, one that threatens future oceans. Here lies the core conflict: livelihood and culture set against conservation, and ethics survival against responsibility. At dawn, the harbor glows with pale light. A whale's massive body lies motionless on blocks of ice, its skin glistening under the rising sun. Around it, fishermen bow their heads, chanting prayers that drift into the cold morning air. The clash is undeniable sacrifice, honored as sacred even as blood stains the ground. For some, the scene is a story of endurance, a community fed by the ocean's giant gift. For others, it is a symbol of cruelty, a relic that defies modern ethics. The question lingers in silence: is this survival or is it sacrifice? The tale of whales in Japan intertwines survival, cultural pride, and moral conflict. It is a reminder that humanity's bond with the sea is both life-giving and destructive, fragile and eternal. Tell us about the most unforgettable thing you've ever witnessed at the ocean. Share your story in the comments, and if you want more untold stories of the sea, don't forget to subscribe, hit the notification bell, and share this video with someone who loves the ocean.